Ash, did you really have to shut it like that?
I love how there's question marks like, oh, it couldn't be Isabella.
Yeah, who could this possibly be?
Yeah.
It's the ghost girl. This is not the first time I've seen Isabella like this. Standing by casually by her kitchenette, a ladle in hand, keeping an eye on whatever's stewing on the stove, while humming a soft tune under her breath. 5 years ago, it has become a common sight after the three of them, including Zach and Rebecca, found a mutual interest in cooking. After that, whenever our schedule allows it, one of them will invite everyone to dinner or lunch instead of eating out. Rebecca prefers it that way. Healthier, she claims. Zach's just too happy to be able to cook for everyone. Isabella, on the other hand, as long as there's food, she's happy. Me, I've been banned from the kitchen ever since the pressure cooker incident. Easier times. Good times.
Is it the same as the fish incident?
I don't know. What's the fish incident? I don't remember that.
Remember they're talking about it when they were eating with Zach? And they were like, oh, fish? And he was like, oh, don't bring it up. And we were like, what? And that was it.
I don't know.
This is the song. With the pretty guitar.
Right now, however, the scene brings an odd sense of normalcy, a strange fit with all of the things going on around us. Not unwelcome, only bizarre, I suppose. Isabella doesn't follow up on her question earlier, but she does raise an eyebrow my way when I take too long to answer. For that, I only offer a casual shrug in response, and a short answer.
I've checked with Zach and Rebecca. I'm just waiting to hear back from them.
I'll add in a quip or two for her if the timing for a joke isn't off or doing so won't be inappropriate. I don't want to alarm her either. There's no reason to, yet. Till I've received an answer from Rebecca or Zach, whichever comes first. Nevertheless, it's clear she has plenty of questions. It's right there in the subtle crease between her eyebrows and the inquisitive gleam in her eyes. Curious as she is, though, she decides against voicing all of her questions out. Instead, she shifts her attention back to the stove and gestures vaguely with her hand in the couch's direction.
Well, if we're going to wait for them, don't stand around there. It's getting distracting.
You're just cooking. How am I distracting?
I don't know. Something might explode again, maybe. Zach's kitchen ban for you is also in effect here, you know. Now shoo, go. Stop hovering! You'll ruin the food. I'll be done here soon.
She leaves no room for an argument by swatting the ladle at me, and just like that, I've been kicked out of the kitchen. Left with nothing else to do, I drift back to her tiny living space and slump down on the couch. Closing my eye. I don't know what I was going to say there.
Closing your what?
Closing my I allow the noise. Closing my eyes, I allow the noise from the television to guide my thoughts. The ones I've been keeping at bay, freeing them from the cage I've built around them, so I don't have to think. One by one, they trickle back into my consciousness, each more frightening and unnerving than the other. So many things going on. So many things happening. Papers we've gotten from BRC doesn't provide any comfort either. Seriously, is there even a point to those after last night? What will asking those people do? If anything, this only proves there might be more copies of that dumb piece of paper. We have one here, but how many exactly is there out there? More importantly, how do we get out of this stupid mess?
Ashton.
Who could this be saying these things to me? Damn it. I haven't felt this kind of bone-weary exhaustion in years.
I don't want to think what might happen next in case I miss something. Shit.
Rebecca. Zach. Isabella.
They're all depending on me and...
Ash!
The voice snaps me out of my thoughts, abruptly wiping away everything running a racket inside my head. Suddenly, Isabella's there, crouched in front of me when I crack an eye open. I haven't even noticed the exact moment when I bent over and buried my head in my hands. Figures why she's staring at me like that. staring at me like I fainted or something. The crease on her eyebrows grows deeper at my lack of response. Although she's merely staring at me without saying a word, her expression says everything. So much for trying to not alarm her with bad news.
Sorry, I just spaced out for a moment. Don't mind me.
For a brief moment, she seems to accept that. Quietly, she shifts, stands up, and takes the empty space right beside me. All done without a single comment. Next. Then, the next thing I know, she's gently pushing a bowl in my hands. What's that? The scent reaches me before I've gotten the chance to take in what she just handed me. A faint, sweet smell of cocoa wafts from the dish. Calming, comforting, despite the multitude of things bothering me, it certainly smells like the kind of food you'll eat on a rainy day. It's like, here's a bowl of chocolate?
I don't know.
Perfect. Though from the get-go, it doesn't look as appetizing. What is this even? Porridge? Why would you put chocolate in it? And milk drizzled on top? She tells me my tastes are weird, yet here she is, handing me something equally as strange. In fact, she's already started digging in hers. I'm just not sure if the taste will be equally as appealing. Baffled, I glance her way. She offers no immediate answer, simply continues eating as if hasn't done so in a week, with her focus solely on the television. She's not watching, however, just listening as background noise. The voices from it seems too cheerful, a welcome distraction, if anything. It's only after she's finished off half of her bowl does she acknowledge the question in my eyes. With a sigh, she cradles the dish on her lap and looks down at it. Briefly, her lips part, then closes. A hesitation, though I don't push her. There's a distant air on her, as if she's remembered something that warrants a poignant thought. When she speaks at last, it's a tone too careful, like she's still weighing her words, considering the proper phrasing for it. Yet sincerity underlies each syllable once they're out in the open.
You should eat. Back at home, Mama would never let us leave the house if we hadn't eaten breakfast yet. Even Papa has got an earful when he tried. So eat. You'll need it.
She returns to her food afterwards, while I can only stare at the one she has proffered not a few minutes ago. Warm against my hands, tempting me to take a bite. Not that I don't appreciate this, but what good will this do? Zach and Rebecca is both out there. Who knows when that ghost will show up again? Even in our dreams, we're not safe. But that's it, isn't it? We don't know when, and at present, we have a chance at respite. Maybe it's the only one we'll have. Even if it's as mundane as sharing food between us quietly, just eating side by side like this without exchanging any words. The intent hangs unspoken in the air, something that probably goes as far back as the second she offered food. Still, in the end, Isabella never pushes it. Rather, she lets her own silence convey her hope.
To the top one.
Whether I'll allow myself that break, she leaves it up to me.
Just let them enjoy breakfast.
We're in a spot where we know they're both dead. They don't.
Yeah.
So do we let them bask in this hope and then punish themselves for enjoying this hope while their friends are dying?
Well, or the other option is for them to worry about something they can't fix at all. Because we know the other two are going to die.
Mm-hmm.
I just do the top. It sounds nice.
Okay.
You disagree?
I agree with the sentiment.
Thank you.
Oh, he's blushing.
The words roll off my tongue, awkward and unfamiliar, far removed from those jests and quips we've shared.
Now kiss.
Yet she accepts this with a smile and nothing more, regardless of everything left unsaid. The sight of it brings comfort. More so than any generous offer of food I can give. Though we both lapse into silence after as we finish our food, there's ease in it. In the muffled sounds of Luxburn filtering into the room. And the light streaming from her windows and the faint draft occasionally drifting in, catching those loose tendrils of her hair. And the way her voice falters when she tries to form words. And despite the horror looming over us, I find myself wishing for the minutes to slow, for the seconds to last. But ultimately, she's the one who breaks it, softly after a minute's pause, in words mumbled under her breath. Sometimes silence simply compels us to speak.
I've been wondering, before last night, before Mama told me the news, what if Papa passes away, despite everything? That sort of thing. I know it's not good to think about, but I also knew it was getting worse. Mama won't say anything, but I've always known that one day, he'll eventually.
She releases a sigh as her grip on the bowl she still holds tightens. There are no tears, but she might as well have them with how weak her voice falls. Are there even any left?
I don't know what I'm going to do. Before, I can easily say it's because of Papa. Now
it has to be for yourself.
I don't have anything.
You have that scholarship from Lux U.
Were you going through my personal papers while I was sleeping last night?
I don't really have to. You left it sitting in the open, right there on the table.
Like there's still anything to hide, she snatches it away from where I've placed it back earlier. Except there's no anger or annoyance in her face when she looks at it and rereads every line with a pensive expression. After a short while, she folds it neatly along the crease and sets it back.
I don't even know if this will work out.
Well, if it doesn't, what about that exhibit you've been planning with Zach?
Do I even have to ask where you got that?
Zach sucks at lying. You have no idea how easy he is to read. It was all in his face when I asked about it. And anyway, if that doesn't pan out too.
I trail off, hesitating, measuring the weight of my next words. Genuine as they are, part of me believes they're a burden, too heavy to impose upon her. Because no matter how much I want her to stay, we are not what ties her here. It'll be selfish to ask that of her, more than anything if her family will always come first. I say it nevertheless, if only to let her know that no matter what her choices will be, there will be people here whose lives her mere presence has changed. Mine most of all.
You have us.
Words startle her to a pause, and slowly she turns to me, her eyes wide, disbelief all over her face. But before regrets forces an apology at my throat, her expression dissolves into something I can't quite place. Something distinctly softer, more tender, familiar, almost in the same manner she glanced at me years ago, the day at the bridge. However, I don't get the chance to figure out what it all means for her.
Sup, I'm Ash from Deluxe City.
All of a sudden, my ringtone breaks the moment.
No, she's gonna die.
And just as fast, both our attention shifts toward the source.
From Deluxe City. Baggers, watch out, can't beat me. Looking for trouble?
Before things can get awkward fast, I stand up and leave the room while muttering some flimsy excuse to answer the phone.
Sorry, let me just take this call. It's probably Zach or Rebecca.
Really, I know we're in a pinch, but their timing can't get any worse.
Oh.
Unknown. Unrelated frustrations aside, I step out of the room and accept the call. The stone that has been stuck in my stomach simultaneously lobs itself up my throat. The person on the other side of the line isn't who I'm expecting.
Hey, Alex, right?
You sound suspiciously like the chief.
Oh, yeah, right. Renz, what's up? You've, never called me through this line before. Is this something urgent?
Yeah, kinda. Something came up this morning. You know the big guy? Your, buddy? Big guy. Around 6 feet tall.
Zach?
I don't feel too good about this.
Yeah, him. Zachary Steele, I think.
What about him?
He's been detained and
Wait, what?
What do you mean he's been detained?
they brought them in this morning.
I have a question.
Hmm?
I thought, maybe I made it up, but I vaguely remember, didn't Ashton show up at the precinct at all? Or was Zach just like begging for him kind of thing? Like, hey.
No, he wakes up and he's just like, yeah, get a hold of my friend. And then, but this was in the middle of the night, so that hasn't happened yet. He's unconscious right now, I think.
Gotcha.
Pretty sure. Yeah, that sounds right. Mm-hmm.
So long ago.
That's not what I asked. What are the charges?
I don't know. Not my division. I'm not really supposed to be on the phone right now, but I thought you want to know. Anyway, I gotta go. If you want to see him, just drop by. Not sure how that'll work, though. The chief has a standing order not to let you into the precinct until Monday.
Yeah. Thanks for the heads up.
Hmm.
I'll bring you some coffee to go with those donuts, too, next time.
I didn't know. I thought it was just like, hey, take the weekend off and come back Monday.
Yeah.
But the chief must be in on something.
Well, that's why earlier Ash is just like, oh fuck, Jesus.
Yeah. But like it's real.
The call ends with a click while I'm left here reeling, staring blankly at my phone. Just my luck that in this exact moment, Isabella chooses to peek out from her apartment.
Was that Zach? Is he gonna drop by?
I have no idea how I look right now, but it must be far from anything pleasant. Curious expression on Isabella's face quickly melts away as soon as she chances a closer glance at me.
What's wrong, Ash?
I'm left with no other choice then. I tell her exactly what, as Officer Renz has said, and the more I spill, the more grim her countenance becomes.
Stay here. I'll go check on him. See what I can do.
Don't split up.
No, I'll go with you.
Belle, I'm not going in there for a casual visit. Zach's in trouble and...
I know, but he's not the kind of person who'd do something that'll land him in prison. There must be a mistake.
Believe me, I'm on the same page as you, but...
I want to see him, all right?
And there it is again, that same sharp gleam that has been present in her eyes since yesterday. Little by little, I'm finding it difficult to say no to it. What other choice do I have, too? Still no word on Rebecca and Zach. Isabella probably doesn't want to be the one who ends up waiting for the news. I know exactly how that feels, so in the end, a nod's the simplest response I can give.
Just let me turn off everything. I'll be out in a few.
Quickly, she disappears behind the door. From inside, the sound of her foot shuffling, a few locks clicking shut, and a television being turned off drifts out the hallway. Her whole business inside takes only a few minutes, and within 5, we're both on our way to LPD. At least we know where Zach is now. That explains why he's not answering his phone. But what the hell did you do, Zach? He said he had a plan that might help, but if it got him into enough trouble to get himself in a cell, I don't think I like that plan of his. And hell yeah, I'm mad. I'm absolutely furious. It's just as Isabella said. I doubt Zach will get himself arrested because of an actual crime.
Well,
Nah. But whatever stupid stunt he pulled to get there isn't any better. The only good thing today so far is the fact that the streets are nearly empty, so early on a Sunday morning. A few pedestrians and virtually no other car on the road to get in the way of us rushing to the precinct. Within the speed limit, of course.